So today a guy in one of my trading groups had shared a story about when he was a kid on a motorcycle. And that made me think of one of my motorcycle stories that involved a couple of deer, but I think I'm going to save that story for another time. As soon as I started thinking about deer, then I thought about another story from when I was even younger that involves a deer. So I'm going to tell that one tonight. So I had a friend. She was a co-worker of mine. We had both moved to the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area at about the same time, back in 1986, I believe. We moved here. Buddy, would you please move? We moved here to work on a proposal for NASA. Anyways, would you go eat, dog? He's so needy tonight, I don't know why. Anyways, my friend Carol had grown up on a farm in Iowa, Ottumwa, Iowa. For those of you who are familiar with the old TV program MASH, that's where Radar was from. The character Radar was from Ottumwa, Iowa. Blech. So anyways, my friend Carol, her parents lived on a farm, and she grew up on this farm, and they raised exotic animals. Now, what are exotic animals, you might ask? Well, they had things like not just your typical horses and pigs and chickens. They had those too. But they had like rheas and guanacos and flying squirrels and wallabies, all kinds of unique and mysterious creatures that you wouldn't normally see on a farm in the United States. So anyways, they raised these exotic animals and they would use them as educational tools for the community. You know, kids come to the farm and learn about these animals that they might not get a chance to see up close and personal another way. Well, one time her mom wanted some fainting goats. Actually, I should probably save the fainting goat story for another time too. Now I've got two stories that I have in my back pocket. Yay! So Carol and I were good friends, long story short. And we went hiking in the Shenandoah Mountains one day. Beautiful day, fall day, crisp and sunny. Probably, I don't know, I would guess it was in the 50s. I was wearing a sweater, and back then those puffy vests were the thing. I wouldn't get caught dead with one now, but maybe, I guess they're coming back, I don't know. We had gone on a hike through the national forest. And we always packed a backpack. Each one of us had a backpack with our lunch in it and some snacks and water and journals, and she was a really good photographer, so she always had all of her camera equipment. Well, we'd gone on this hike to try to find this one waterfall. And when we couldn't find it, we were really bummed out. So coming back to the car, we had to come across this big, huge meadow. Actually, I think it's called Big Meadow. Maybe, I don't know. And as we were coming around the edge of this meadow, I looked across the meadow and we saw some deer. Now, mind you, that's not that unusual in a national forest. But this was a beautiful, beautiful buck. And so we sat down Carol sat down and took some pictures of him, and we got our snacks out, and we each had an apple, I think. And so I finished my apple, and I just fastballed my apple core into the meadow. Not really thinking, and the deer caught wind of it. So here this buck starts coming towards us to pick up this apple core and munch on it. Now he was far enough away, we weren't really that worried about it. So Carol finished her apple, and she tossed it. She didn't toss it quite as far as I tossed mine, so consequently the deer got closer to us. Beautiful, majestic animal. And now we're both like really excited. So she's grown up around exotic animals, and I've always loved animals. So we got to thinking, what else do we have? I wonder how close he'll come. Really stupid, but we were in our 20s. So I had a bag of green seedless grapes. So I had no idea if a buck would be interested in a green seedless grape, but I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. So I threw a couple of grapes out there. And he couldn't smell them, of course, because they were, you know, there wasn't much scent in them because the skin hadn't been punctured. So I stuck my thumbnail in one of them and tossed one, and that he could smell. So he came and munched those. Anyways, I kept throwing him closer and closer and closer until he was right here. So here's this buck eating grapes out of the palm of my hand. And so Carol's like, get it closer, get it closer. She's kneeling on the ground right next to me. You need to get him just a little bit closer. I want to get a really good shot. You know, ever the photographer she was. So she's kneeling next to me, and I'm sitting here intently looking into the eyes of this wild buck. And he's eating grapes out of the palm of my hand. Well, he finished all the grapes, and I thought, okay, he's still hungry. So I slowly reached into my bag to get some more grapes, and he decided he'd try to investigate himself. So he starts angling his head down towards the bag, which meant that these huge antlers were on either side of my head. So I managed to snag a few grapes and get them one in one hand, one in the other, and gave him a couple more grapes and then threw them away so that he would get away from us. Because while he's eating out of my hand, I could feel one antler touching the temple of my head. So that was exciting. Carol got some great pictures, and I'm going to include one of them at the end of this video so you can see I'm not just making this up. But oh, her dad was so mad. It's like, that's the stupidest thing you could have done. You could have been killed. Blah. Yeah, we probably could have. We were young and foolish. But boy, was it a good day. And what a story. And a cool picture to boot. So that's going to be the deer story that I tell today. And then another day I'll tell the story of the deer and me on my motorcycle. That was a good story too. So we have something to look forward to, and I have content for 2 more stories yet to come. Hope you enjoyed that one. Take care. God bless.